Well, it's looking like another indie developer is not only praising Xbox because of Game Pass, but they're also saying that partnering with Xbox has no downside from a marketing perspective. Let's get into why indie developers are praising Game Pass, all the while Sony's PS5 is left behind yet again. Let's talk about it because there's a lot to unpack here. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that small little bell icon. It helps out the channel a lot. Well, we all know that Xbox has the best feature in gaming, which is Game Pass. We know that it's not only helped a lot of developers get their games out there, it's also helped gamers find new games they might not have known about. Something that, when you look at it, helps developers, and that's exactly what this Replace developer, Igor Gritseys, has made comments on. He's from Sadcat Studios and one of the developers of Replace, which is a smaller indie game, yet was showcased at Xbox's event and has an Xbox Game Pass title attached to it. He goes on by saying that working with Xbox is basically a no-brainer, especially if you're an indie developer. Here's what the article has to say, because I just want to cut to the chase on this one. It's hard not to take note of how indie-friendly Xbox has become as a platform over the years, and based on the lineup of indie-developed games coming to Xbox over the next few months and years, it's clear that it's something that Microsoft is going to continue to emphasize. One such promising-looking indie game coming to Xbox soon is sci-fi platformer Replaced. And with Twinfinite, the game's developer spoke about working with Microsoft. In particular, Replace developer Sadcat Studio co-founder Igor Gritseys comments stand out in context of recent reports of how tough most indie developers have found working with Sony. Gritseys remarks that Microsoft actually cares about the indie market, and that from his perspective, there isn't any downside to partnering with Microsoft where an indie developer is concerned, owing to the funding and marketing reach they provide. Okay, so let's just break this line down. Actually cares about the indie market. That's something that's a direct jab at Sony. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. No other publisher is that hard to work with but Sony, and this has been a story that's come out multiple times. We know about Sony not supporting indie developers, and we've had multiple, and I mean multiple developers call them out about it. Yet Sony has stayed completely quiet. They haven't uttered one thing about what the indie developers have said about them. All the while, developers are praising Xbox and are even saying Game Pass has helped them so much. And to be frank, Game Pass has shown that Xbox cares about the indie developer, which is something that Igor says right here. The biggest part of the partnership for us is that Microsoft actually cares about the indie market, Gritseys said. Otherwise, well, there would be much fewer games on all platforms. They really give a chance to small studios to actually produce something and provide marketing awareness to people. I would say that for indie studios, I can't even think of a con with partnering with Microsoft because they provide funding and marketing reach. Now, that's pretty straightforward if you ask me. Without Xbox, there would be fewer games out there for people on all platforms. Again, that's a direct shot at Sony and their platform, indicating that because of Sony, there would be fewer games out there. That's something I never thought I would hear, because there's this illusion from people that Sony helps indie developers, when in reality, that's just not the case. In fact, what's helping developers is the marketing awareness Xbox has provided, not to mention Game Pass. This is something that's been happening for a very long time. Xbox has put indie developers front and center on a lot of their E3 shows and other shows out there. I mean, we're about to get The Ascent and a bunch of other games like Hades, which are made by smaller studios. These games are coming to Game Pass day and date on the console, they're coming to Game Pass on PC, and it's something that a lot of gamers are looking forward to. It gives exposure to these indie developers that otherwise can't do it. I mean, a lot of these studios don't have hundreds of developers on them. They have about 20 people, even 15, and some as low as 10, but they want to make these games that they have ideas for, and they put their creative choices into making the game. Now it's up to the publisher to help them market it, something that Xbox has done extremely well. ID at Xbox has been extremely successful for Xbox, yet for Sony, they don't have anything equivalent to that, and it's something that the developer talks about again right here. Gritseys also spoke about the merits of Xbox Game Pass, talking about how launching on the service helps smaller titles with everything from accessibility to visibility to sales. As for Game Pass, it allows more people to learn about the game and actually play the game, Gritseys said, because there is frequently this situation for many players where they will see a game in the store and they want it, but at the same time, it is $30, $60, or even more, and so you maybe wishlist it, and then you usually forget. However, with Game Pass, you just press a button and install. Of course, sometimes the possible con of this is that people might be too overflowing with games, and so each game gets less attention. Still, equally, it is a chance for those games to shine. In other situations, they might otherwise be drowned by thousands of other games. Game Pass allows us and many other developers to actually deliver our project to people. Also, from what I heard, Game Pass also boosts sales, but we'll see about that. To summarize, it's a win-win situation for us. Okay, so this is a very honest approach to Game Pass from a developer perspective and for Xbox in general. You can see right here that the paywall for games is a troubling factor for a lot of developers, yet for Game Pass, that eliminates it. We've talked about this before. People can try a game if they are interested, and if they like it, boom, they can continue to play it and maybe even buy it to further support the developer even more. Because we have to remember, playing a game on Game Pass supports the developer because they already got money from Xbox to put their game on the platform. So it's a win-win for everyone. And if you purchase the game because of Game Pass, it's even better for Xbox and even better for the developer. Yet you can see this developer truly sees value in the exposure that Xbox is providing them as an indie developer. That to me is invaluable in so many ways, not just to the developer, but to gamers, because it exposes us to games we might have otherwise not played. I mean, I've played so many games on Game Pass through PC Game Pass or even the console Game Pass, and I never would have played these games before. And I'm saying that truthfully. I'm not the biggest indie gamer, yet for the last year or so, I've been playing a lot of games, and I've been choosing to play a lot of different games, indie games, and big AAA games that Xbox Game Pass has provided because it gives me that option to do that. Yet you can see that this developer and other developers have talked about it, because this isn't the first developer to talk about this. The Descenders developer also talked about how great Game Pass is. So yeah, it's obvious that this is something people love to use, especially indie developers. And if you look at what Game Pass has done, the great way to see if it's a success to developers is if other developers are coming into the program, which they are, especially third-party developers are coming again into the program. So they're double dipping or putting more games in there. That shows that this has success. As for Sony's PlayStation 5, it looks like yet again, they're on the outside looking in with these awesome indie developers. Xbox has The Ascent replaced and a bunch of other indie titles coming exclusively to the console. So it's something that I think Xbox is going to corner. They're going to put that market in their pocket. They're going to take the indie developer and give them everything they need, the exposure they need, the marketing they need, and put them on their big stages of the Xbox events. That's something that Sony just isn't doing. And after their last State of Play showing, it was kind of awkward that they put these indie games up there, yet they haven't talked about all these indie developers calling them out saying, hey, unless we pay you a bunch of money, you're not really advertising our game. Or you just don't care about the indie developer. And seeing that this developer is calling Sony out and basically saying Xbox actually cares about gaming is kind of harsh. But hey, that's the business, and that's what causes competition. Xbox wasn't really great during the Xbox One and PS4 era with indie games, yet PS4 was called the indie station for a long time until their big games came out. So it's kind of funny how the tides turn as the generation moves on, and we're in this next generation. But enough of what I think about all this. Tell me what you think about this. Are indie developers going to Xbox because of Game Pass? Wasn't the PS4 called the indie station at one point for a long time? What happened to Sony's indie relationships? Has Xbox cornered the indie market? What other games do you see Sony losing out on? And do you see even more developers partnering with Xbox instead of Sony? And how does this affect future relationships for developers that are growing talents? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I'm playing a bunch of games. I'm on Xbox Game Pass, basically playing everything. I got my new PC, so I'm playing Game Pass on there. I'm playing on my Series X with Valhalla. I'm just kind of jumping around between the two systems because I'm in the Xbox ecosystem and I love every minute of it. Also, I've been playing a lot of strategy games, especially Warhammer strategy games. I love those. Don't care what anybody says. They're amazing. I'm having a great time with them. I just bought Warhammer 40k Battle Sector, which is a lot of fun. So I recommend everybody check those games out also because, hey, I like playing different games. I don't like playing the same genre. I like playing a lot of different games that give me a lot of satisfaction in what I'm playing. I love strategy games, I love third-person games, and I love little puzzle games. Anything, because that's what we're here for, is to play games. But let me know what you're playing. Go down below. Are you playing something different? Are you playing on your Game Pass? Are you waiting for The Ascent? Are you waiting for any of these new games coming to Game Pass later down the line? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for, is to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.